Hey, Jake, how are you? There's something that I want to talk about today, but before we talk about anything, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the 313, everybody.
Put your
Put
hands
your
up,
motherfucking
follow
hands up
me.
and follow me.
I feel
This
like
is Jake.
I feel like
That other Mike
yeah,
is Edward.
yeah. I feel like
Before we forget,
at this point
like,
we're beyond
subscribe.
introductions.
What'd you say?
I feel like at this point we're beyond introductions. If you're listening to this, if you don't know who we are, read the description.
Yeah, exactly.
Read
Yeah,
the
we need
description.
no introductions. We're so famous. We are more famous than Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified. Baby.
Brad
We'll
Pitt's
do
got
it
nothing on
live.
us, dude.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Talking about things that suck, or rather, talking about things that keep rearing their heads around. Aliens.
They're out there, man. We are not alone,
We're not alone.
said the congressman or
Hey,
whoever.
hey, let me ask you this. Because every picture that I see of this thing, it looks tiny. Is it tiny or is it really tall?
It looks
It
tiny.
looks tiny.
So what we're talking about for context, if anyone hasn't heard, I mean, this is like recent news. I
Breaking
mean,
news,
yeah,
yeah.
September 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. Um, they there's an alien mummy purportedly that they found in Mexico. Well, I don't know where they found it, but it's being
Mhm.
displayed
In
at
Mexico.
the Mexican Congress in Mexico City.
Yeah.
It looks like, I mean, dude, it looks like it looks like a prop from a Spielberg
It
movie.
does. It
Um,
does. It literally, like when I saw that, I was like, "There's no way," you know. I
no,
was like, "There's
it's
no way. There's no way." Like that they expect people to think like this. This is the alien contact we've all been waiting for. Some like
no
piece of dust that they glued together.
a Halloween decoration.
Yeah.
They bought this thing at Party City,
They
bro.
really did.
Get that thing.
They were like, put it, encase it, like put it inside of a glass case. Nobody will know the difference. It's a Schrodinger's alien.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, we can't have it tested. It's like there was a guy like 10, 15 years ago who had like a quote unquote Bigfoot carcass
Mhm.
in his freezer, but he's like, oh, no one can see it though. I'm like, oh, okay.
No one can see
Yeah.
it.
Like, why would that even make the news? It's like this.
Only I can see it. If your eyes touch it, it will just evaporate.
Yeah,
Like the Thanos snap.
exactly. Well, yeah, that's the whole flying teapot
Yeah.
thing or whatever, where it's like, oh, imagine, there's an invisible teapot between, Jupiter and Mars.
Jake, imagine there's an invisible man in the sky.
Yeah, okay. A lot of people do, Edward. Like some Christians believe, I don't know why, there's a caste system in heaven. Dude, I'm gonna be like, because I would say twice.
Well, listen. I don't remember what I did. It's of Spanish, but whatever the version of it was for me, I also did it twice. I did it 2 times. So that means that I'm gonna
Two
be right up
times.
there with you. I'm gonna be right
Yeah.
up there.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, dude. Dude, you know what? You know what's funny? We're talking about this. I'm actually working on a short story right
Mhm.
now. It's a horror story and it takes place in heaven. And it's like it puts it's like a whole, like, the age old joke of like, well, won't we get bored in heaven, or like won't eternity, like, isn't that a long time? Won't that kind of suck, like just worshiping God like forever,
Mhm.
There's like the whole old cartoon of a guy kind of like twirling his halo, like bored,
Mhm.
And I was like, ooh, what if I twist that into a horror story? I thought it was a pretty good idea.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty good idea.
We'll see how it turns out.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a pretty good idea. It would be a shame if somebody stole it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's one of those ideas that I feel like pretty clever. Most
Yeah.
ideas I don't mind like just putting out there, because I think, like, as a writer, I mean, your ideas aren't valuable. Like, no one
Right.
wants to
It's
steal
the
your
execution.
ideas. Yeah, that's a clear sign of an amateur, I think, where it's like, oh, I don't want to tell anybody about this idea.
Mm.
It's like I could see that maybe for one that you think's like really like unique, but most of them, it's like, it's people want to write their own stuff, man.
Right.
But back to the mummy.
But as you say that, I write down the specifics of your story, so I can steal.
Yeah, right.
I'll write this.
Yeah. I'm polishing another short story that I had finished, though. Funny enough, it has a mummy in it. It's not like a mummy walking around. It's a little more like nuanced than that, but it has like ancient Egyptian horror themes to it. But I'm getting that polished right now. I'm trying to get that published in a magazine or something.
Yeah, very nice.
So hopefully, a couple weeks, couple months down the road, I can share the good news with all of you. But I had my editor look at it a week or two ago. Shout out, if anyone needs an editor, I highly recommend Angela Traficante. She's awesome. She's a full-time freelance editor. I think she lives in New York, but she's been good to me. She's great.
Oh, shuts out.
Mm-hmm.
But back to our alien, because I'm looking at some news right now on my phone, and I'm looking at what it says here. It says alien corpse shown to Congress as UFO expert, whatever that means, forced to testify under oath.
Yeah.
What is it, UFO expert?
Ufologist, bro. That's what Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 is.
That's an actual
He's like an
thing.
amateur
It's an actual
amateur
thing.
ufologist. Yeah, ufologist. I don't know how many are employed, but
I think a lot of them are self-employed, working from home. Look, listen to this. A self-described UFO expert, that's how they introduce him, claimed the two small corpses were retrieved from Cusco, Peru. They were presented in windowed boxes in Mexico City on Wednesday, stirring excitement between the UFO conspiracy theorist community. Somehow that whole sentence is sad. And screams desperation for aliens to be an actual thing. And that little alien looks like a sad little boy. Like a sad ET.
It's like, I'm fake, please. Yeah, they found it in the Emperor's New Groove, Peru. This happened. I don't know why this is making national news or international or whatever. I don't even know, but it's making national news, and I don't understand why. Because this is not the first time this happened.
Right. That's
the weird thing. It's weird how things catch on, because a few years ago there was a photo just like this of Peru, an alien mummy that they found in Peru, and it was like a tabloid thing. I just saw it in passing on Facebook. It was like I just saw it in passing in like some science group, and it was like someone, dude. I remember this kind of feeds into what you were just saying about it being sad. I remember the guy who posted the link. The guy who posted the link to the story was like vehemently defending it. Like anytime someone would comment and say this is fake, he would reply to it and be like, "No, it's real. Like look at the article." He'd be like, "No, it's real." And it was really sad. Like it was just, he was like almost modding the comment section, where anytime someone would say like do any kind, like express any kind of skepticism, he would just jump in and just be like no, look at the article, it's real, this came out, this has been verified, it's an alien mummy, extraterrestrial, we aren't alone in the universe.
Well, dude, let me read this next two paragraphs from this for you as we continue on this story. This says, the event was spearheaded by journalist Jaime Maussan, who claimed under oath that the mummified specimens are not part of, quote, our terrestrial evolution, end quote. With almost a third of their DNA remaining, quote, unknown, reported Mexican media. It's like, dude, if you grab a pile of clay and you mush it together, you could point at it and go like, "This is not part of our human evolution."
Oh yeah, yeah. They're like, our studies, our findings, the lab report came back. This thing is 30% human feces and 40% toilet paper.
And now listen to this. Listen to this. This is the second part. The claims by the self-proclaimed ufologist have not been proven, and Mr. Mao-san has previously been associated with claims of discoveries that have been later debunked. What if this is the same guy that you were talking about?
It probably is. Yeah, it's a dude. That's the whole thing with I don't. I can't get into that. Never mind. I'll tell you after. I can't dig that up. Yeah. It's the whole thing with like, let's just say historical con men, right? Who they've been known to do cons before, and then people are suddenly like, but this one, this thing, like, a funny. One interesting example of this is, so you know that video of Bigfoot, right? That where Bigfoot's like walking around that creek.
Yeah.
The like Patterson footage. It's like the old footage.
Yeah, where he looks like it's just Jason Segel wearing a big monkey suit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that the guy who did that video, I think it was Roger Patterson. The other guy was something Gimlin. One of them was like a notorious con man, I think, like a notorious con artist or known for hoaxes or something. And he was like going off to find evidence of Bigfoot. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I came back with it. I found him. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I pulled up an article here by Wired. No, this is not an alien. Here's why. Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
Neither is the plastic skeleton I put on my doorstep on Halloween.
Listen to the final. This is how this article ends. This is an article like independent.co.uk, and it goes: Ryan Graves, Americans for Safe Aerospace Executive Director and former U.S. Navy pilot, was in attendance, having earlier this year told the U.S. Congress of the threat that unidentified aerial phenomena posed to the U.S. national security. So the guy that from before, like the American guy that was like, aliens are around, that guy, he was there. So all the big names, all the ufologists' big names are gathered.
Was Tom DeLonge there from Blink 182?
It doesn't mention. I bet he was. I bet he bought a first class ticket to be there. It says,
I bet he was like, dude, he was probably disguised in the corner.
It says like, Mr. Mao-san has previously been associated with claims of alien discoveries that have later been debunked, including 5 mummies found in Peru in 2017 that were later shown to be human children.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what I remember.
You think that's the guy? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they look. Yeah, mummy. If you've ever seen a real mummy and not just the cartoons of the guy wrapped up in toilet paper, but I mean, an actual mummy doesn't look. I mean, it looks like human, but it also looks really disfigured and alien-like. I mean, this honestly, dude, this looks like a human mummy. I mean, it doesn't really even look alien, honestly. I mean, I guess the back of the head is like elongated.
It is elongated.
Egyptian and I believe Peruvian cultures did that by they would wrap a rubber band around a baby's head so its skull would grow that way. Mm-hmm. As like it was supposed to be like a symbol of divinity or something. So it's not, yeah.
I'm reading this article in the New York Times now that says the researchers, however, distanced themselves from Mr. Mao-san's conclusions, and an independent expert dismissed the exhibition as shameful.
It is.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna go to Party City and buy like two like rubber zombie like statues, not statues. What do you call that? Those zombie things that you put in your front yard, you know, and then put them on display. Be like, I found aliens.
This is pretty crazy. Like apparently the American guy testified in front of let me see. He says Ryan Graves similarly testified this year. Said told Mexican lawmakers that such encounters with aliens were grossly underreported.
Well,
I don't know. This is all a big pony show. There's nothing here.
Well, it says two, quote, non-human beings. This is the article I'm looking at. Two, quote, non-human beings were shown off during a bizarre hearing of Mexico's Congress. The bodies are believed to be a muddle of human and animal bones held together with glue and fake skin.
Jeez.
Big surprise. It was like an alien unboxing, but they were just Nazca mummies from Peru. Toward the end of a public hearing in the green room of the Chamber of Deputies, Congress of Mexico, Jamie Mousen, ufologist, journalist, and host of the Mexican television program Tercer Milenio, announced a surprise. The well-known researcher had the audience's attention at this historic session. What a
grifter, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my god. Dude, this thing looks stupid. Oh my god. It looks like a Halloween decoration.
Indeed. I was surprised.
Well, they would make things like this too. I mean, they would. There's like this lake monster type thing in Japan of legend. There's an episode of River Monsters about this. River Monsters is the shit, by the way. That was my shit growing up. I think it's still going too. But anyway, there was an episode of River Monsters about it where they were like, oh, like we have, you know, in this museum, like the remains of the monster that the Japanese people, you know, the folk, where the monster of the folk legends. And, you know, like Jeremy Wade, the host of River Monsters, he goes to the museum and he takes a look at the thing. And it looks kind of like this, where it's like this, it looks like an amalgamation of just things like kind of stitched together, you know, of like mummified animal and human parts. But yeah, I don't know. I find it weird this like made, I guess this made national news though, because it was shown in the, you know, Mexican Congress or whatever. Right, that must be why.
That seemingly they like saw it fit to exhibit that thing in like their own like town square in front of government. You know, it's pretty silly.
It's like, so funny how they quote. It's so funny, like you said, they quote people being like, "It's not human." It's like, yeah,
of course.
Neither's my toilet.
But I was like a little bit like I didn't know how big it was, because when I looked at the image, it just looked tiny. I was like, this looks like a 2 feet thing, you know. But somehow I think I read something that was saying that it was like big. Like the thing was like big, but I couldn't find like anywhere stating like how big that thing was.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I couldn't find it either. Those things are supposed to be tall. Things from Signs.
Yeah.
Those grays, man.
Have you seen that movie?
No. I don't really have much of an interest in seeing it. It looks dumb to me.
It's interesting. Just it's interesting from like a film buff standpoint when you like think about like, oh, it's like, you know, it's M. Night while he was still like on a run, and it's like, you know, Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix. It's like it has like enough things there to be like, okay, this is maybe worth checking out. I remember the only reason why I checked the movie out is because like it was like I watched that movie like way long ago, and it was because like Chris Stockman, it was like one of his favorite movies. He had given it like an A+, so I was like, I gotta check this out, you know. And then I checked it out, and I was like, oh, I don't know about this one. But it's not horrible. I think I gave it like a 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Then I don't know if what I would think now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're coming out. It's funny that I just accidentally played a little piece of our last podcast. It's funny. I was watching I was on YouTube last night and I saw a trailer for what was the movie called? It was like a home invasion / alien invasion movie. What was it called? Alien home invasion movie.
So you watched the trailer of it?
Yeah. Oh, it's called No One Will Save You. It's coming. The trailer just came out 9 days ago. I don't know what the release date is.
And you watched the trailer?
Yeah, it looked all right. I mean, I don't know. Who knows how it's going to be? No One Will Save You. It looked a little weird. It was just kind of like, I don't know, the whole time, because it's just this girl that's home alone seemingly, and the aliens are stalking her throughout the movie, and the whole time I'm just kind of watching it, and I'm like, seems like they shouldn't be having this much trouble like actually capturing her.
Why would aliens do that?
I don't know.
Why would aliens do that? It feels to me like if aliens were real and they could like capture human beings, why would they capture like some little girl? I feel like they would capture.
Yeah.
I feel like they would capture like Joe Biden and be like, oh, let's incept this guy and like control world politics.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the lizard people are already doing that, Edward. Remember?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forget.
Look at this video closely. You'll see that Hillary's eyes are reptilian. I don't know what to make of people who put out content like that. I really don't. There's only one human identified reptilian. There's only one. Oh.
Do you know who it is?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't know who the one is? There's only one.
I'm trying to think. I feel like it's like on the tip.
It's the guy from Sunny with a Chance.
Oh, Sonny with. Oh, that's right. Yeah. The Skinwalker. Yeah.
What was that guy's name, man?
What was his name? Sterling something?
Yeah, he's like Sterling Knight.
Sterling Knight. Oh yeah. That's right. Oh, this is gonna be our second time roasting him on the pod. He's 34. He's 34 years old. What's he up to?
The guy. I hope he doesn't deserve the jokes, but I hope he is doing better than Mitchel Musso.
Mitchel Musso. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. Mitchel Musso. Oh yeah, we gotta. What was he doing? He stole chips from a gas station or something.
I don't remember what it was with that guy.
For context, we're talking about Mitchel Musso. If anyone, he played Oliver in Hannah Montana. For anyone who grew up on, watching Disney Channel shows. I certainly never watched Hannah Montana.
Neither did I. Do you remember what it was that happened with him? What the whole idea was with that guy?
Let me see. Mitchel Musso. He's taken out.
I think you put it on our community tab, right?
Oh yeah, I did. That's right. On YouTube. Speaks out after public intoxication arrest. I don't want to hear some dumb apology. I want to hear what happened.
This weekend in Texas over public drunkenness, stealing a bag of chips, and more.
Yeah, it's like, Mitchell, I don't want to click on the link where you apologize and explain your actions. I just want to go to the link where they talk about your actions and judge you for myself without your context.
What's going on with these guys, man?
I think it gets to your head, man. It gets to your head, I think, to be famous and then to not be famous.
I think so.
Like, you're famous one day and then the next day you're not famous anymore.
I think so. It's rough. Like, I remember when it came out that Bow Wow, like little Bow Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when it came out that he went to like a strip club and he like was stealing money from the strippers.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, dude, he's been caught in a lot of
a lot. He was caught flying like economy, and he posted something along the lines of like private jet, and somebody posted a picture of him on that exact same flight that he posted private jet.
It's like he just took a picture of a small jet like on his way to the plane or something.
Yeah. It's rough.
Probably ripped it off Google. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, then there's one that's really sad of him where I'm telling you, Bow Wow had it even work. Did it? He made it even more of a fool out of himself than Soulja Boy has, I think, in past years. I think the worst.
At least Soulja Boy has rekindled some success.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know who handles that? Well, hang on. One tangent at a
time. We're getting
fucking
sidetracked.
Yeah. Fucking Mr. Musso. No. Yeah, because what's funny is Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, they made like a joint mixtape like a few years ago, and it was like the two fallen offs. But Bow Wow, yeah, because there was one incident too. The one that was like really subtle but kind of sad.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad in like a subtle kind of way. There's a video where he's like taking a selfie video of himself, and he's got a hoodie on, and he's got like his head's like kind of he's like tucking his chin kind of, and filming himself, and he's walking through a crowd of people, and he's just like, they don't know it's me.
I wouldn't know it's him either.
No, dude, I have no idea what that guy looks like, man.
For me,
that's the thing though, because there's nothing about like certain celebrities that make them super recognizable. There are some, obviously, 6ix9ine like from anywhere,
right? Just because that guy's a cartoon character.
Yeah, but generally we would recognize a celebrity because you've seen their face like so much, right. But we don't see Bow Wow's face anywhere because he's not relevant at all.
Yeah. Love Bow Wow.
What if Bow Wow like puts a hit out on us now?
I don't think he has the money for it.
yeah, we're safe. You're right. Oh, that's awesome, man.
He can't. Poor Bow Wow. But yeah, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough falling off like that, man. Like you said, because it's like you get used to fame, the recognition, and I think the worst part of it is the expectation. I think that's the worst part, because it's like, and I feel like it's the same thing with like Drake Bell. Not so much with Josh these days. Josh is in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's I feel like these guys are living, like, I think that they're like in this mind trap, like in their own brains, where they're like, oh, because I was, like a famous young person at one point in time, there's this expectation that I'm supposed to still be like rich, or that I'm supposed to be upholding some kind of lifestyle, that we're not supposed to see me around like the common folk, And I feel like that messes up, that messes with you, man. If you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be like, people can't see me like working at a library or a McDonald's or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's got to be the weirdest. But you're kind of like, well, you're in this situation where you're like, well, I need to make money, but I don't have a way to make money. But shouldn't I? I'm famous.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm famous. Money should just come in still.
Exactly.
There should just be checks coming in the mail.
And that's the interesting thing, because there's been a lot of podcasts coming out of like people who were in a show doing a podcast about that show. Like I don't know if you've been aware of this. Like
Miranda Cosgrove, doesn't she have a podcast? Or she's been on they do the rounds on podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the main cast from Ned's Declassified Survival Guide, they have a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called like Rewind Ned or something, or like Ned's Declassified Podcast or something like that. And it's literally those three actors who have since Ned not really amounted much in their careers. They just talk about the show. Each episode, there's a new episode. Each episode of the show, they do an episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And part of their goal is that them doing that will kind of gather some kind of hype, so that the show that they were once in as kids will get like a renewal, and they'll like do it again. Yeah. It's strange.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be a trip. I mean, I'm looking at, it's so interesting to me. I'm looking at an article right now, celebrities who worked normal jobs after becoming famous. Oh, God.
What's the list look like?
Jeffrey Owens bagged groceries at Trader Joe's after starring on The Cosby Show. Damn, dude. That's so fucked up. Yeah, because you're in like a because you're fucked. You're fucked. It's like you're fucked because you're like, well, I need to make money, but I can't. Like, if I go work somewhere, people are gonna recognize me and shame me and put me in the news.
Especially if you don't have a career. Like that's the worst. Like if you're a kid actor, like those the Zack and Cody kids did it right. because they
Yeah.
did the Sweet Life, then they did the Sweet Life on Deck, then they went to college, and now they both have like college degrees. So even if
Mhm.
I mean, I know one of them is like still insanely famous and popular. He was like in Riverdale. The other one's not doing. The other
Yeah.
one's not doing so well acting wise. But the good thing for those guys is that even if people are like, oh, where are those guys now? It's like, well, I guess they went to college, have degrees. Like maybe they're doing whatever they went to college for, and at least I
Yeah.
feel like that mentally can help you. The fact that people can look at you and you can feel like, oh, I have a, I'm doing. I went to school and I'm doing the thing I went to school to, and now like I can hide behind that,
Yeah.
my shame can hide behind
Yeah.
that. The fact that I'm not
No, I
like
know.
acting anymore, like making millions or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This article's fucking obnoxious though. It's like oh, while the Jonas Brothers were on hiatus, Kevin Jonas ventured into tech with a restaurant app called Ude. It's like, that's not a fucking normal job. Like,
Mm-mm.
get the fuck out of here. That's like saying, oh, Ryan Reynolds works a normal job because he's got Mint Mobile. It's like, get the hell out of here, man. Shut up.
Yeah.
We want celebrities who hit rock bottom. When I look this stuff up, we're looking for celebrities that hit rock bottom and had to go back to working at McDonald's, man. That's what we're looking for.
Exactly. That's what we're looking for. And there's too many celebrities, so there has to be like a handful of those. Like for instance, like the guy that worked in, I know this is like a minor celebrity, but it's like the kid that was in Indiana Jones, and then he was in the Goonies, and now he was in Everywhere All at Once and won an Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, all that guy's adult life, he was just working like a normal job. He was just a normal guy.
Really?
And then he got because I saw. I mean, it's actually like moving listening to him speaking about it, because he obviously a great actor. I mean, he won an Oscar. I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once yet, but I can only assume. Regardless, I have respect for the man.
Right.
Because I saw THR, I think it is, The Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, they do something called roundtables near award seasons. So they do like an actors roundtables, actresses roundtables, basically of whoever is in like the hype movies that are Oscar contenders. And they do that every year. So, at some point early next year, around February, like near Oscar time, they'll make another one with like probably like Margot Robbie and whoever else, it's like a big, has Oscar buzz for nominations. And he was in it for this past year's roundtable, and he was in it with like whoever. I haven't seen a lot of movies over the past year, like recent movies. So I don't know who else he was. I don't remember who else he was in there with, even though I saw the whole thing. Like I saw the whole roundtable. I don't remember who else was there. That guy who played Elvis, he was there. Austin Butler, he was on there. But he had a moment where he talked about how he was like, I did that movie with Spielberg and I did the Goonies, and then he was like, nobody wanted me on anything after that. He was like, I was a little bit older and I didn't get cast on anything, And he was talking about that, but there was like that expectation, and because I was in movies, and he was like, and I loved acting and I loved movies and I loved what I did, and he was like, but I had to I had to then just come to the realization that part of my life was gone, So this is a man that was just living, just thinking like, this is the one thing that I had passion for, and seemingly I peaked when I was 9, And then those guys who directed that movie, they just called him, they just reached out to him, and basically reinvigorated his whole career. They did a Tarantino on him. Fascinating.
Good for him, dude.
Yeah, fascinating. But yeah, so listening to that, was inspiring, because it also kind of led me into the mindset of what these actors, or like these people who like had fame and had access to like stars and productions and Hollywood carpets, it is fascinating, honestly, very, very fascinating. When I guess we'll hear the Tory Lane's comeback story in 10 years.
Oh, God. Hell no. I like his music.
Like a few songs. I like a few of his songs.
Yeah, he's got a great voice, man. He's got a great voice. It's like a mix of Travis. It's like a cross between Travis Scott and Jeremiah. That's how I would describe his voice. pretty good description, don't you think?
It is a pretty good description. Too bad that he's got a bad temper. But he's a bad man.
God, dude. Yeah.
A lot of these guys have those high pitched voices. End up not doing so well. End up being not great guys.
Upstanding figures.
Yeah, exactly. R. Kelly being one of them.
Oh God, yeah, you're right, dude. Yeah, what is it with R&B singers? It's like R. Kelly, Chris Brown, now Tory Lanez.
So
like Tory Lanez is like hip
tough.
hop.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez is more R&B adjacent.
Yeah,
I would
adjacent.
consider Tory Lanez more
Mhm.
traditional. He's like a hip hop singer. He's in more of a Ty Dolla $ign kind of lane, I would say. Ty Dolla $ign's better, but
Of course.
yeah. But dude, did you hear that WWE and UFC merged and Vince McMahon's old ass has been kicked out?
I didn't hear about that. Is that news?
Yeah, that was like the other day.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's so weird. I heard about this over the summer. Someone told me this, that WWE and UFC were merging. That is so weird. Who would have thought that, dude?
That is really strange.
Oh, and Dana White was removed as UFC president.
Is that true?
Holy shit. So Vince, yeah, I swear.
Huh.
I swear, dude. I swear to God.
This sounds like world-shattering news, and I have not heard of them.
White is now chief executive officer of UFC. What the hell's the difference between president and CEO? I don't get all these titles, man. I don't get these titles.
Dana White says WWE's Vince McMahon stopped son Shane from buying UFC.
Or how long ago? Yeah, Tucker Carlson. What is going on?
After 41 years, Vince McMahon has his final day heading up WWE. I didn't know about any of this. Since they're owned by Endeavor.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean,
maybe they're trying to give UFC fighters like a pipeline into like another career after they're done.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because there's been a lot of crossover, man. There's been a lot of crossover in the past few years, specifically between both, from WWE people going over to UFC and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much anyone from WWE who went over to MMA who has an actual background in actual wrestling did pretty good. Like Jack Swagger.
Not CM Punk.
No, I know that was the elephant.
Not CM Punk.
Yeah, it's like, no, you can't just have no fighting background whatsoever, no martial arts background,
and then try.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
Acting, maybe this translates.
Right, and when I say martial arts background, I don't mean like taking martial arts classes. I mean actually competing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to compete in something before you go to UFC.
Right.
That whole thing, that was so weird. I mean, CM Punk was a civilian. Dude. Really?
I feel like that's the worst insult you could have said about that guy.
It really is ridiculous when you think about it. Like, just because this guy's famous, we're gonna let him fight in the UFC. It's like, no, this is dangerous. This guy's a civilian. I mean, dude, I've been taking martial arts. I've been doing martial arts training. I've been doing MMA for 2.5 years now, man. I'm not ready at all to go to UFC.
Oh god, he's a civilian.
Dude, yeah. Train me 9 hours a day for the next 2 years. I still won't be ready.
Did he had like 2 fights, right? Didn't he get destroyed? Like absolutely destroyed?
Yeah, the first one like hard to watch. The first one, that guy, I think the first one is I don't know anything about his opponent. I don't know what his opponent's name was in the first fight, but it seemed like his opponent was just very kind of like, I can't let this guy beat me, and
I'm gonna make a statement. I'm gonna make a statement on the WWE chump.
Yeah, he was like, I can't lose to this guy. That's how apparently Frank Mir, because Brock Lesnar's very first UFC opponent, and Frank Mir said that at first he was kind of like, oh, this will be cool. This guy was a NCAA wrestling national, champion in wrestling in college. And he said he started getting those thoughts, though, when people were like, oh, you can't let a WWE guy beat you. And Frank Mir's like, no, he's not a just a WWE guy. He was an actual competitor,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but he was like, his struggle with going into that fight was like, all people knew about Brock was that he was a WWE guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt like, yeah, I have to beat this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
I can't let a WWE guy beat me.
Yeah. Which Frank Mir did beat Brock Lesnar in the first fight. He got him in a knee bar, I remember. But Brock Lesnar, they had a second fight later on down the road. I think Brock was like the champion, and then Frank was interim champion,
Mm-hmm.
and they were having a fight to unify the titles, and Brock kicked his ass.
Oh, good.
He fucking leveled Frank, dude. Frank's face was like swollen after that fight, I remember.
The statement that I want to, I feel like the elephant in the room, I guess when it comes to like the Paul brothers, I know this is kind of like a weird side tangent to this tangent.
Well, he went to WWE, right?
Yeah,
So
well, Logan Paul went to WWE. So I guess it's not totally off center, but it's that with those guys, I'm not, because every time that I hear about them, specifically, like if I find myself listening to like a clip of Rogan and he mentions them, he's always giving them credit for something. You know, like for some reason, Rogan's always giving them credit for something. But I will not actually respect those guys' like achievements, like when it comes to stuff like that, until they actually fight somebody who's actually in the thing. You get what I'm saying?
In the thing? What do you mean?
Like in the thing.
I mean, Logan fought Mayweather, didn't he?
Yeah, but Mayweather. But the thing with that Mayweather encounter is that, I mean, from what I understand, everybody's just criticized it as like a dog and pony show. Like they didn't do anything. They were hugging the whole time. But But I mean, like
it was an exhibition.
But what I mean by that is that he's like fighting a guy soon. A guy who keeps like bullying him on Twitter or something like that. But he's like fighting a guy soon who is like a mixed martial artist, but he's boxing him. And it's like, dude, who cares? Like, fight an actual, like, if either do mixed martial arts like a mixed martial artist, or box an actual boxer, but don't try to like do it that, like, that's weird. And they always win, like they beat whoever they go against. Exactly. And it's like, of course you beat him. The guy doesn't do the thing that you were fighting him on. Like I know, dude.
You've that been training in boxing. To piss me off. Yeah. Jake did it too recently, where it was like, or are we talking about? Maybe we're talking about.
No, we're talking about it too. That Nate Diaz, like Jake beat Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz is not a fucking boxer,
right?
So it's like what? Right. So it's like, what's going on here? It's like, I understand that you guys are trying to, I guess, be boxing because it's harder for somebody to break your arm if you box them, but at least box an actual boxer. Like, don't box like all these mixed martial artists.
Yeah, no, it is so irritating. Because it's like, dude, you can't, when you're in if you're a mixed martial artist, you can't just focus on striking. You can't just focus on stand up. You know, even if your specialty is stand-up striking, like Alistair Overeem, you know, that guy was, an insane striker, but he had great takedown defense. Like he was he was one of Brock Lesnar's opponents. He beat Brock, because Brock Lesnar was a wrestler, and he always, if you look at his fights, he's always going for the takedown. And Alistair Overeem defended against that, really well. What I'm trying to say is, even if your specialty is striking as a mixed martial artist, you're still fine, but you still have to defend against takedowns. You have to know a little bit of it. So my point is, you're right. Like that, it doesn't translate as much as you'd think to boxing. But it goes to show people don't understand a lot of times the way people don't understand athletics very well, and how things transfer within athletics. You know, because for example, people think that like, like, how strong are you? You know, how much do you bench? And it's like, no, it's like that. It's benching is fine for developing some strength, but it's not a great measurement for strength. It's just one type of movement. And like guys who do powerlifting, that's your sport, great. But those are very there's strength, of course, involved in that. But squat, deadlift, bench press, It's like there's technique to that as well.
Exactly. And to me, the most like obvious pointer for that is the fact that it's like you can look at super athletes, right? Like prodigies, like insane athletes like LeBron or somebody like Jordan, right? And it's like, oh, the second that those guys step out of basketball, they're not good anymore. Like when Jordan left basketball to be a baseball player, he sucked, and then he was like, "Well, I gotta go back to basketball," because it's like the things that make you a gifted athlete in one sport don't make you a gifted athlete in another one. Especially if you have conditioned your body your entire life on a specific sport and field. It's like, oh, just because you're a good baseball player, you can't play. You're not a good tennis player. It's like a completely different set of skills. So it's like the same thing comes for that, and it's like, dude. And it feels like they think they're fooling somebody, but it's like, who are you guys fooling? And every time it becomes more and more obvious. It's like, well, you guys are not actually competing against people who are conditioned their whole lives to compete in that sport. You're just competing against other folks who are also athletes, quote unquote, and then you can build it as that. It's like, oh, I'm fighting Nate Diaz, who's been retired for 5 years, and he was not a boxer. And it's like, oh, you beat him? Great. Of course you beat him. Of course.
Yeah.
Like, jeez, man.
Yeah. And, I will say, like, of course, MMA translates better to boxing than, football translates to tennis or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there is more overlap between certain sports than others.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. If you want to see who's the better fighter, mixed martial arts, because you're doing everything. You're kicking, you're striking.
Yeah, but those guys won't do mixed martial arts. They won't do
it. Hell no, they know they'll get their ass.
Yeah, they get their ass
they'll get CM Punk.
Yeah, they get CM Punk.
That's what CM Punk should have. He should have just done boxing, man. He would have had, I don't know, maybe better luck.
CM Punk should have.
Because obviously boxing is probably not as challenging, I don't think, as mixed martial arts. If guys like Logan Paul and Jake Paul are able to just kind of go in and be from just being
YouTubers and from doing wrestling in high school,
Right, and you can beat, like, hey, if you can beat Nate Diaz in a fight, again, he's not a boxer, but that's also not a small feat.
Right,
you're okay. Right, you might not be Mayweather, but you're decent.
Right,
but. Yeah, I mean, once you, that's the thing. Like, I've never done regular boxing. I do Muay Thai kickboxing. And, I mean, once you incorporate kicks into the mix, it's a whole different ball game. Right. It's like, just that alone, like kicks and knees and stuff. Like, every time you swing that fucking leg, dude, it just, like, takes so much energy out of you. Yeah. Anyway, what kind of film stuff you got?
Yeah, let's move out of these tangents. I have somehow started with aliens and took us to the Paul brothers. I don't know how that happens. that's where we get. Look, there's been an elephant in the room for me when it comes to film, and this is not specifically necessarily like a film news thing, but this is specifically a film review thing, specifically about one critical drinker. It's something that's been bugging me because I started. Obviously, I know that you're a big fan of Mr.
We're about to have beef with critical drinker.
Yeah, we're about to have beef with him. Which I should see like his latest video because I know he made a video about One Piece. And he literally titled it like One Piece succeeds or Cowboy Bebop fails is what he titled the video. But I am not having beef with him. But it's interesting because I know that. Similarly to Bert Kreischer, there seems to be like a growing beefaroni. People seemingly want to have beef with him, is what I'm trying to say. Specifically, he recently had beef with YMS, like Your Movie Sucks. They had beef recently, like as of a month ago, they had beef because YMS was criticizing him because he went on Russell Brand's show. He went on Russell Brand's show, and
who did Critical Drinker?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Whoa,
and he took his glasses off in there so you could see his eyes. And his name was revealed. His name's like Will. His name's William.
Good for him, dude. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, no, he did that a month ago. And from there, like, He's been facing criticism basically because people are just saying that he's kind of like a film bro and like a film connoisseur of sorts, and that he's just kind of repeating, kind of like that basically his points boil down to I only watch American movies and I really only know what's going on in American movies. Yeah.
I mean, that is kind of, yeah. Most of what he reviews is, I mean, I feel like every time I get a notification for one of his videos, it's like Star Wars, sucks. This superhero movie sucks. I mean, he's got good taste, but yeah. Right. I don't know. I guess I didn't really notice that, I guess.
But the thing with him is that I believe he has good points. And that was the thing with YMS. He said that he had good points. And YMS actually said he likes the drinker. But he was like criticizing him because he was saying that the drinker would not be criticizing films if he watched more films, and not if he just watched like American movies, which I think it's true. But I guess like it makes sense in the sense of just having a channel in which you just discuss like popular media. I guess because like if you look at his channel as like a channel that just discusses popular media and criticizes popular media, then it makes sense, Whereas YMS is like somebody who's like talking about movies in general and like who goes to like film festivals and like watches movies before they're like widely released and watches all these art house films. But because people have been criticizing the drinker for that, but for me it feels like, well, you're criticizing that guy just for what he is,
Yeah,
which is strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean. Yeah, I guess it does seem like Critical Drinker's a little more pop culture-y, just like mainstream movie, mainstream moviegoer. I don't know. I guess I never really noticed it. I mean, yeah, I guess he hasn't really done many reviews on art house films or anything. I don't know.
I enjoy the guy for what he is. It's just his videos are entertaining. Like I like watching them, but it's the same thing with like there's this other guy named like Mauler on YouTube who makes like insanely long videos. Like he has videos on like Star Wars, like 5-hour long videos. On just like that guy has a series of videos. He has like 4 videos, I think, or like 5 or 6 on like the Star Wars, The Force Awakens. And those videos have been coming out for like the past, like I think like 8 years or something. And each video is like 3 hours long and it only covers like 20 minutes of the movie. So like really pedantic like videos. And it's the same thing with that guy where it's like, okay, but you're just talking about Star Wars. Like everybody knows that The Force Awakens, like it's not great, Like it's weird sometimes with me because it's like, and that to me is also the same thing with the drinker because also I enjoy his videos. It's like, dude, but everybody knows, like everybody knows, like I know,
Yeah, you don't have to make a video shitting on The Little Mermaid. We know it's shit.
Exactly, or maybe I'm just saying that because like from where Jesus Christ, like we have a podcast named Film Tangent, so maybe I'm just saying that because it's like. Obviously, I went to film school and I know about film analysis. So maybe that's like my head, and I'm just failing to see the general public. Because obviously, I think he's like the most successful film critic on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
So I guess the general public, this needs a voice to hear those things out loud. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do have to say
I
do have to say that when it comes to like me and like my film consumption or like the people that I enjoy watching, I do enjoy watching him, but just in that way where it kind of like puts a voice to my thoughts, stuff that you and I talk about sometimes about, fucking these movies sucking and so on and whatnot,
Yeah.
But I really do enjoy mostly, I feel like from criticism, finding new things, And I don't, like, if I was just, like, finding movies through the drinker, I wouldn't find anything. Because all he talks about are just fucking things that are out. Indiana Jones, superhero movies, The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
It's like, all that shit's out, man. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll like, his stuff, I'll get some, I follow, like, his drinker recommend stuff. If he recommends something, I'll generally watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I definitely want to see Sound of Freedom. He
Yeah.
gave that a drinker recommend.
Yeah, because of that,
I
I have a curiosity about that film. I want to check that film out.
Yeah, and I think his analyses are pretty good, too.
Yeah. No, the guy's pretty good. I wish that he would make an effort to go out of his way to find more like underground or like independent American films, if that's what he wants to focus on. I wish he would do that, more often, so that more often you get movies like interesting things like, Sound of Freedom, what's that about? Let's check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know for our podcast, like my kind of vision, what I try to do is, I try to give it a good mix of like, hey, here's something here, like, here's a RoboCop commentary. We all know RoboCop, but then it's like, this week let's watch this, weird fucking movie that, has like a niche.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I've been doing whatever flights my fancy, honestly. Like, I've not.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I've not thought about it as like a one for them, one for me. Like, I've recently in my head, I've just been like, I want to finish Woody Allen's filmography. Let's do it in the Let's do it in the podcast.
Yeah. Mine's been a one for them, one for me. I think. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to do another fictional face-off,
really?
Man. Yeah. Fictional character face-off. You down for that?
Yeah, let's do it. And then we can go into our recaps.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Dude, the first one I had was all right, check it out, man. Mm-hmm. We got Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs versus Heath Ledger's Joker. Who comes out on top, man?
Hannibal from Silence of the Lambs. Okay,
and for context, everybody, these fictional face-offs, it's like a showdown between these characters. In there, like not which character is written better or anything like that, but like a literal showdown between these two fictional characters if they were in the same world doing what they do best. Yeah. Go for it, Edward.
So, Silence of the Lambs versus Joker Batman. I think for me, it has to be a clear winner for the Joker.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Yeah. And I say that because I don't know, like it's like when you think about The Dark Knight, and it's like The Dark Knight is like this heightened reality where you have a Batman, wearing a gimp suit, running around punching people. Like when you have that, and you have the Joker whom is able to do insane things in that movie in terms of like how like Machiavellian he is and how he plans everything out and how it's like, how he's able to so perfectly manipulate people and turn them against their own principles and values, orchestrate these huge events across the whole city. They have Batman just like spinning his tail until he just says like, hey, the only way for me to beat this guy is to do the espionage act and spy on the whole city, like is to break the law and to fucking
do the Patriot Act.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit on everyone's phone.
Exactly, just spy on everybody. I can't. This guy's outpacing me, so I have to break the law to beat him. Like the fact that it takes that, whereas Hannibal, when we start that movie, the guy's already imprisoned. Like they got him.
He gets away though. Away. He's got a pretty good. Dude. He's got. Hang on. Here's the thing though. He's got a better escape than Joker because Joker's escape makes no sense.
No.
Batman leaves him alone, and then they put a guy in the room with him.
Right.
And they're just like, you stand by the door for no fucking reason.
Yeah, exactly.
The Joker's just like, you know how many of your friends I killed? The guy's just like, I'm going to beat you up. The Joker. Yeah, it's like, why would you have a steel door there? Why would you put a guy? That always bothered me.
The guy could have just stood outside.
It bothered me more than any other hole in that movie. None of the other ones bothered me, but that one always bothered me.
But because
the whole thing with like, the Joker couldn't know this or that. It's like, I don't know, man. I could buy it, but that motherfucker standing by the steel door like a bouncer, he's like, the steel door. Yeah, the lock's actually not working on that steel door. We gotta put a guy there.
Yeah, I guess that scene was left in the corner floor. So the door is broken. Put a guy in there. Put a guy.
Then Hannibal's. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Then Hannibal's escape was incredible. He's like, where's another guy's face?
Yeah.
To escape. Yeah, dude, he even strung the other guard up in like some like flayed angel pose.
Right.
It's like, holy shit, how'd you have time to do that?
Yeah. I don't know. But, I give it to the Joker because that movie just makes him seem like a deity, like literally, like even like it's like he performs impossible acts. He robs a bank in which he kills everybody, and then the last guy's him. Somehow he makes it perfectly coordinated to where the last guy is him. You know, it's like it's too much. It's too much with that guy. I feel like I feel like when it comes to like the crazy, like the ranged serial killer guys, I give it to him over Hannibal.
Yeah. I would say I'd probably agree with that.
I'll give it to Hannibal.
The only thing Hannibal. One. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would give it to Hannibal over any of the other Jokers, because Hannibal in the movies at least, he doesn't really do anything all that impressive other than the escape from jail. Right. Dragging in jail the whole time
and going like this.
Then, yeah.
What a weird
and then
thing.
The movie. Yeah, and then the movie Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs, I don't recall him doing anything that clever in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I mean, he gets the jump on people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely smart, but there wasn't like a genius sort of plan in that movie that I recall that he did.
Right.
Hannibal's lame. The movie Hannibal, really lame. It's lame, man. There's some parts, there's stuff about it that I like.
Yeah.
There's stuff about it that I like Gary Oldman as Mason Verger. Have you seen that?
No.
Him in the wheelchair. Look up Mason Verger, Hannibal, Gary Oldman. Mason Verger. It's like insane makeup. He was like a victim of Hannibal Lecter who survived.
Oh, I see. Oof. I don't like that. I'm not going to look at that. If you look that up...
Michael Pitt plays him in the show Hannibal.
If you look it up, like the images, you have to click on them for them to show up. It says, this image contains explicit content. Oof, that's grotesque.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they made him look like the people who like get their faces mauled by chimps or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that character is played by Michael Pitt in the show Hannibal. The same thing happens to him. He gets fucking mauled.
Had I sent you that thing before? The whole like cement? I believe it's pronounced concrete, baby. Had I sent you that?
I don't think so. This is a callback to the concrete episode, my old concrete job. Okay, the next one I got here is I got Anton Chigurh versus the Salamanca twins from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
I give it to Anton Chigurh right away.
Yeah, I do too.
Because also that's another guy where like Joker, that character, it's like a god. I mean, literally, like from what I understand, like the symbolism of the character is like he's like an unstoppable force. Like literally, like a god.
Death.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be Death from like they based him off of Death in Ingmar Bergman's Seventh Seal. Yeah.
So it's like, and again with that character, it's like so calculative. Like everything just goes according to plan. Obviously, it's fascinating in that movie how he gets into that car crash, which obviously that kind of throws you off. But it's an amazing way of ending that film. But yeah, no, I gotta give it to him. Like if
the Salamanca twins are dumb, dude.
Exactly. Like those I was about to say that. Like if the Salamanca twins got taken out by Eggman.
Eggman.
by what's it called? By Humpty Dumpty. Then it's like they'll be taken out by Anton Chigurh for sure.
I agree. Yeah, that one was more of a fun. This one, honestly, I did not think there would be any controversy. I knew you were going to say Anton Chigurh. I thought of Anton Chigurh as well, but I just thought it would be fun to shit on the Salamanca twins because it really is like you watch those Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's like these guys are scary.
Yeah,
they're scary. They're physically,
imposing
with guns. Yeah, they're imposing. But they're really dumb. I mean, you can outsmart them pretty easily.
Which is,
like Nacho just hid in like that oil tanker.
Yeah.
And like the
one
of them, Marco,
he
I think it was.
Them.
He just like sticks his head in and he's just like, oh,
good enough
here. Which Nacho was also Nacho was also an idiot for hiding in that thing.
Yeah, he should have kept going.
That was dumb. They did a couple things like that in that last season where they did that too in Germany where the guy was running from Lalo and he hides in the shed.
Exactly.
It's just like, why? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know, it felt weird. It felt like the writers were sacrificing some integrity in those couple scenes
for the sake of
to have
getting the dots, the one point to the other point.
Yeah.
To have some kind of conflict or stakes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like Breaking Bad, when you really think about it, dude, those twins should have easily taken out Hank.
Exactly.
Man. They should have easily.
To me, that was always like the weirdest one. Like I remember even when I watched that, I was like, really? I was like,
yeah,
really?
even with the heads up from Gus,
yeah,
they still should have been. That should not have been that hard. But they walk. They do like their Frankenstein walk.
Yeah,
their Jason walk.
Assholes.
Yeah, like the part where they're chasing after Nacho, and he's hot wiring the car, and they're just like walking toward the car. It's like you're giving him a lot of time, guys, to hot wire this car. Yeah. Which that part makes me clench every time I watch it. We're not just hot wiring the car; they're just walking right up to it. You're like, fuck.
They had to do it. Like if they run, it's not gonna be enough time. It's like guys, just walk.
Yeah,
just do the things you always do. Do what got you killed. Do what killed you guys. Just walk. Just keep walking. But for those who don't know in the audience, those twins, one of them is worth more than the other. Like if you want them to do a cameo, one of them is like $500 and the other one's like $100. One of them is worth way more than the other one.
That is so weird. Maybe he must have been, and he must have more experience. He must have more credits, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe he's a fan favorite. Maybe fans have voted in some kind of polls, and it's come across that one of them people like more than the other one.
Oh yeah, dude! I'm looking at their roles right now. Luis has way more roles. He has like
they're twins. Why should one be worth more than the other?
Yeah. Doesn't mean they're going to be in everything together.
Look, man.
Wait. Hang on. Luis was in Dexter? I don't remember that.
Really? Look, man. If I had a film, right, and then it was like, oh, you can get one of the Salamanca brothers for the sake of upping like the publicity for the film, or like. Maybe like the fact that their names are gonna be in the film will get some people to watch the movie or something. And they were like, well, one of them is worth 500, one of them's worth 100. Or we're like, let's get the 100 one.
Yeah,
let's get the cheaper one. They look the same. Doesn't matter. And that way, I'm getting the other one for free. Look, if I have to have like twins, and it's like, oh, let's get the Salamanca twins. I'll be like, no. Let's get the cheaper one, and then we'll
digitally.
We'll do the Twinkle Boss thing that they did in fucking the Social Network. We'll just use him twice.
Yeah,
using that guy twice is cheaper than getting the other guy once.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true, dude. He got killed by Dexter. Mm-hmm. I don't remember this, but yeah, I'm looking at images right now. He was one of Dexter's victims. Wow, I don't remember that. And I definitely knew it at the time. I recognized him, I'm sure. I guess I forgot he was in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on here. Yeah, the Salamanca twins are stupid, man. They're really dumb. They got outsmarted quite a bit.
They did.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't even kill Walt when he was in the shower. Granted, they didn't want to. They ended up fine, but still, it was just, that was a creepy ass scene, man. Where Walt's in the shower, and the Salamanca twins, like they come in and just sitting there waiting for him with that axe, and then Gus calls them and is like, he texts them, tells them to go to Pollos Hermanos. Then Walt opens the door and they're just gone. That was so creepy because you knew, 30 seconds. It would have been a whole different story if Walt took a 30-second faster shower. It's a good thing Walt decided to rub one out in the shower that day.
Right. So those extra 30 seconds.
Yeah. That load saved my life, Jesse. Okay. The next one's kind of just for me, I guess.
Yeah, what you got? What's the next one?
I always wanted to see Vick Mackey from The Shield versus Lalo Salamanca from Better Call Saul.
You're gonna have to answer that one. I don't know much about Vick Mackey. I've only seen the first episode, but just aesthetically, I would like Lalo to win over the second Humpty Dumpty in your list.
Yeah, can you imagine that the Salamanca twins get killed by Hank, and then Lalo gets killed by Vick Mackey.
It's like, their biggest weaknesses are bold, man.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because Vick's like really smart in The Shield. He's really smart. I mean, he's conniving. It would be a really interesting chess match. I really don't know. And the thing in The Shield too, Vick always kind of has the fact that he's a cop on his side, so he can kind of cut corners. You know, he has that as an advantage over his opponents in that show, where he can use he can use color of authority to, he can use his badge, the Shield, to, cut corners. Oh, I can, gain entry to this place by just saying, I'm a cop, get down, shit like that. I don't know, man. It's really hard. It's hard. I mean, I want to say, it's tough.
You're the authority on this.
Yeah, because Lalo's fucking smart, but Lalo was like really impulsive. And I don't know how impulsive Vick is in The Shield. Because Vick's, he's a bastard. He's definitely a sociopath like Lalo, but I don't recall in The Shield any... He's impulsive in smaller scenes where it doesn't really matter, but he's not impulsive with like huge moves, Well, like Lalo in Better Call Saul, he was impulsive with like a big chess move. He would be super impulsive with it, Like the whole thing, dude, it just gets me every time. Like minor spoilers here for Better Call Saul, but it's like, with the whole laundry thing, it's like when you found out where the laundromat was, right? Gus's laundromat. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you call your cousins?
Right, exactly. Why would you solo this whole thing?
Yeah, he really should have. Dude, he should have gotten help on that. His cousins would have been there. They would have been there like that, man. They would have shown right up. Yeah. They would have taken everybody out.
Exactly.
No chance.
Aren't those two guys supposed to be like a whole army on themselves?
Yeah. Dude, Gus wouldn't have been doing his little cord trick then, kicking the cord, pistol under the forklift. Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. You ain't getting
exactly.
Dude, if you had twins there too.
Yeah. So you can only kill one guy.
Yeah.
You can only get away with. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can only get away with killing Lalo in that situation, and then the other two guys are going to kill you. You're like, well, this is how you die,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I'm going to have to give it to... I know you don't have a dog in this fight. Yeah. I'm going to have to give it to Vick because I really don't think...
They're weak towards bald guys. Bald guys are the weaknesses.
I really do... Oh, that was too loud. I really do think... I think Vick would win because I don't know if Lalo is... I think people overstate how smart Lalo is in that show. I don't know if Lalo's like actually as smart as he thinks he is in Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things in that show he doesn't figure out. You know what I mean? Like he never figures out that Jimmy was lying to him about the desert. And then when he realizes that Jimmy was lying, he has this whole theory that like Jimmy and Nacho were working together to take him out. And it's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you even talking about? Mm-hmm. And then, like, also, I don't know, like, earlier in, like, season 5, I'm trying to think. I feel like there was something like that, too, where when Lalo went to jail for that little stretch of time, I feel like there was just something where it was kind of like, it's kind of obvious here, man, that people are... Oh, I think he definitely should have sniffed out... He definitely should have sniffed out that... I don't know. I'm going to abandon that thought. But anyway. My point is, I don't think Lalo was as smart as people give him credit for.
Yeah, I stand by.
Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yes, I think he was as persuasive as people give him credit for, and I think he was incredibly like smart and like strategic. But I think people overstate his smartness, because obviously there's some moves that he made that he could have made better. But obviously, when you have a story that precedes another story in which the characters already survive, I guess you need some contrivances. And they just didn't. I guess they couldn't find a way to get around that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they made his downfall his impulsivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Which made sense because sociopaths are generally very impulsive. And again, Vick Mackey in The Shield, he's impulsive, but when it comes to the big picture and the big moves, he's not as impulsive as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
He actually is very level-headed and very loyal to his team too. Like there's certain scenes where it's like Vick has every reason, to kill this teammate of his, and he goes against his better judgment and, out of respect for his teammate. You know what I mean? So there's things like that where it's like, yeah, this guy's like a little more level-headed than, a lot of sociopaths.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the next one I got, Punisher versus John Wick.
I don't know, man. This one's tough.
They both take a lot of punishment. Man.
Exactly. Like this one's tough because I also don't have like a lot of experience with the Punisher. Like I saw the second season of the show, and I haven't read any other comics. I haven't seen anything else with the character. I just know of the character. And I've seen 3 John Wick movies. So I feel pretty well versed on John Wick. I am going to give it to the Punisher.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's out of a gut. I have a gut feeling about him.
Feeling.
Yeah, it feels like for a character that's been around for so long and whose name is the Punisher, I feel like maybe he would come out on top.
Yeah.
Versus Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. I got to give it to John Wick, man, because John Wick, like if we're going off like the John Barenthal's Punisher, right? Mm-hmm. Like the guy was kind of an idiot, and it's the fault of the writers, but we can't really excuse a fictional character's choices by pointing at the writers. We have to look at the character on their own, Mm-hmm. And it was like, from what I recall, like that guy was an idiot. Like he was kind of dumb, where it's like, they tricked him with that whole thing. Remember that scene where he was fighting all those goons in that warehouse, and then Jigsaw, Billy or whatever, Jigsaw like tricks him.
Mm-hmm.
They have like those corpses in a room, and when Punisher shoots like through the door and he comes in, he's like, "Oh, I killed them." Remember that? They make him think he killed like 3 innocent women or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then he's like done. He's like, I'm done, and he goes to the hospital.
I remember that.
And then someone has to tell him like, no, those were already corpses. They tricked you, and he's just like, oh, okay, get me out of this thing.
Yeah. Well, like if
fucking stupid.
If we're talking just like about one guy over the other guy, right? If we're talking like about the Bernthal Punisher versus John Wick, then yeah, John Wick for sure. Like if we're talking about the mythos, I don't even know the mythos of the character, but I want to give it to the character. But if it's Bernthal versus Keanu, I give it to Keanu.
Yeah, Keanu, if we're doing like John Wick versus the Punisher in his entirety, the mythos, like you just said,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems kind of like a tie. They're almost the same character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's tough. That's a tough one.
John Wick's on the other side of the law, though. Well, they're both on the wrong side of the law, but John Wick is he's fighting for the criminals, not against the criminals. Like, at least in his heyday, in the movies, it's a little different where he's all the other characters are criminals, but he's fighting criminals and allying with criminals, But yeah, I would say, sound logic, Edward. All right, dude. I have Alvin and the Chipmunks versus versus Scrat from Ice Age.
Which one's that? Like the thing that was almost like the
squirrel
the
from
squirrel?
Ice Age.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, this is part 2 of Remy versus Stewart.
Stewart, you know I'm not partial towards Ice Age movies. I try to delete them from my head. But
dude, Ice Age 1, the first Ice Age is fantastic. I love it, man.
If I were to answer that, I would give it to the Ice Age creature over Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah,
because that creature is resourceful. It's aggressive.
Yeah.
It's resourceful. And it has 1,000 lives. It just is. Yeah. Whereas Alvin and the Chipmunks are like city boys. They're pampered. You know, they don't know how to fight. They don't know how to fight. They have like girlfriends. Yeah. They're like in a little boy band. They don't know nothing about life. They don't know nothing about struggle. They've never gone a day without food. You know,
or Scrat has to fight for his
exactly, dude. I would put all my money the same way that when you and I had that Remy versus what is it? Stuart Little, and I gave it to Remy. I gave this to the Ice Age one. I gave it to whoever's the scrappiest.
Because you said that Remy could just control a person, right? To fuck Stuart up. Yeah, because but also,
if you remember, also a big point for my Remy argument was that Remy was a rat. Stuart Little, it's a mouse.
Stuart's a mouse. That's true. Yeah. That's sound logic right there.
I think that is unimpeachable logic.
I think you're right. I think Scrat would fuck those 3 chipmunks up. I think they wouldn't even know what hit them, dude.
I don't think they would know.
Scrat's a squirrel / rat, so he's bigger than the chipmunks.
Yeah, they're just chipmunks.
Yeah, he would fuck them up, dude.
They got abducted, you know. Like they don't. I've watched 3 of those movies. They have nothing going for them. You know, they have nothing.
Dude, those movies are so fucking bad. All of them are just this guy Dave who's like fucking up. Wasn't that his name, Dave?
Yeah, it was Dave.
And then Ian just tries to steal them in every movie.
Yeah, every movie, and he succeeds every movie, and then Dave gets them back every movie. And those chipmunks are supposed to fight the squirrel that is like always on the hunt. No way.
Yeah, because that squirrel even fucks up Sid in Ice Age. Yeah. Remember, there's like the part where Sid's like, "Ooh, an acorn," and then fucking
that's a good one.
Pine cones. These are my favorite. Yeah, but he finds an acorn, and then Scrat like flies out of nowhere and just starts fucking him up. Beats his ass, dude. That sloth who's like 10 times his size. Yeah. Scrat beats his ass.
Yeah, so I have everything on Scrat.
Yeah, Scrat all the way. All right, last one. Punisher versus Hulk's penis.
Hulk's penis. That's my argument. That's I stand by that.
Yeah. Yeah, Hulk's penis, dude.
I stand by that.
That's a hammer, bro.
It is. You can't take on that.
That thing's probably a hammer. That thing, dude, if you look closely in the 2008 version, I think you can see it like coming out of the left purple pant leg, right?
If he punches it, it just bounces. It bounces back at him, and it just destroys him.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it. Hulk wins.
My dog's going crazy, man.
I know. I hear him. He's part of the show. I noticed. He's a member.
Yeah, that's Scrat right there, my freaking dog.
Yeah.
Now what I've learned is that his barks never make it through the background noise reducer.
Yeah, they don't.
They never make it.
Yeah.
So
sadly.
You hear that, buddy? You hear that, buddy? You're silenced forever.
You're getting no attention.
Silent. Yeah. But yeah, Hulk's penis all the way, dude. Because think about it, like, all you have are guns, but it's Hulk's penis.
Yeah,
like that thing.
He can't. The thing is that either it wins or it's a stalemate. He can't beat it. He cannot beat it. It's invincible.
Yeah, exactly. He could wear it down, you know. Like if Punisher could wear it down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No. That penis would destroy him.
Exactly, it would destroy him. It would destroy him. It would destroy him. Yeah, there's no argument.
That's all I got, man. What you got for your recap? Listening, watching.
This is a very short recap. As
beating off too.
This is a very short recap. As you know, I went over all the shit that I've been watching. I went over last week, and basically it was just a one episode of One Piece, which was solid. But since we were last here, I only listened to 2 albums. I listened to Deathconciousness by Have a Nice Day. But Have a Nice Day is like a band. It's like him and like another guy, I think. And literally the cover for this album is a guy who did the deed, and he was like, he like wrote like a note. It's like, this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so suffice it to say, the album is very dark. I mean, it's called Deathconciousness. 13 tracks, an hour and 25 minutes long, very experimental, alternative. Don't listen to this. If you're having a bad day or if you're just struggle with depression or anything like that, don't listen to this album. But it's otherwise, it's pretty good. But I don't recommend. I don't recommend. Don't listen.
I'm gonna go listen to it.
And then on the other hand,
but only because I'm fine.
You're stable. Then on the other hand, I listened to an album by Hikaru Utada called Bad Mode, and this is a Japanese pop album. Hikaru Utada is like a very popular Japanese like alternative pop singer, and she made a great album last year called Bad Mode. Anybody who's interested in listening to Japanese music or who likes Japanese pop or rock, listen to it. I specifically recommend the songs Bad Mode, and basically I recommend songs 1 through 4. I'm not gonna butcher Japanese names of songs, but it's pretty great.
That's wise.
I know, right? So like I did last week, I'm not gonna do it this week, and that is the end of my recap. That's all I got.
All right, man. Yeah, I gotta start truncating my recaps. Mine are always like way fucking long.
Mine's are always very short.
I need to be more brief with them. Let's see. All right. So I mean, the only movie that I watched this past week was the new Jennifer Lawrence comedy, No Hard Feelings.
Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was pretty good. This was directed by Gene Stupnitsky, the guy who did the movie Good Boys, which I hated that movie. But I liked.
Did we watch that together? I have like faint memories.
Yeah, we watched it. Yeah, we watched that in college. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I didn't like that movie. I guess I didn't hate it. I gave it a 4 out of 10, so that equates to didn't like. But yeah, I watched No Hard Feelings. Did you hear about this movie? Or see trailers or marketing or anything for it? Yeah. It was pretty good. I mean, it basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically about Jennifer Lawrence plays this woman who she's about to lose her home, and then she finds Craigslist type thing where basically these rich people are going to pay her to date their introverted 19-year-old son before he leaves for college, because he's never had a girlfriend, he doesn't have friends. So yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, dude, I enjoyed it. It was like it was a good like kind of by the numbers comedy. Pretty predictable, but they also they hit the predictable beats, but when they hit those beats that you knew they were going to hit, they actually did them in really unique ways. So like, of course, you have the scene where it's like, oh, this character finds out, you know what I mean? Like, what's the movie? How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Of course, there's the scene where Matthew McConaughey's character finds out that she's been lying to him. There's always that scene. It's not even a spoiler for the movie practically. But they did that scene, quote unquote, that scene in this movie really well. It was unique. It wasn't cliche. They avoided cliche when possible in this movie, which is generally welcoming. You know, it feels welcome. Book wise, I just started this novel called Lost Gods.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading the preview right now, so I just started it. You know, I want to see if I like it before I buy it and throw it on the Kindle. But it kind of stood out to me. Basically, the plot. I'll just read the blurb. A young man descends into purgatory to save his wife and unborn child in this gorgeous illustrated tale of wonder. Yeah, there are some illustrations at the beginning of each chapter.
Sounds like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, and terror from the mind of master storyteller and acclaimed artist Brom. Fresh out of jail and eager to start a new life, Chet Moran and his pregnant wife Trish leave town to begin again, but an ancient evil is looming, and what seems like a safe haven may not be all it appears. There's more, but it's kind of long, so I'm not going to read it. Book blurbs are always so long. But basically, from what I gather, you know, there's you know, a lot of it takes place in sort of a purgatory. I like the idea of lost gods. So, like, I'm thinking maybe there's going to be literally that, lost gods in purgatory. I don't know if that's... oh, yeah, here it is. Thrust into a realm of madness and chaos where ancient gods and demons battle over the dead and where cabals of souls conspire to overthrow their masters. Chet plays a dangerous game, risking eternal damnation to save his family.
What's his name?
Chet. Chet. That's like a very... It takes place... The first part of the story takes place in Alabama, so they're very southern. But... but I was like, oh shit, you son of a bitch, I'm in. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that is, but yeah, kind of interesting so far. But I get all my book recommendations from Reddit. That's where I like all my book recommendations. Like I don't look at, because I look at the bestseller list on horror, and I did read, I guess the last novel that I read I pulled from the bestsellers list, but you have to do some digging because a lot of the bestsellers in horror sometimes are haunted house books, and it's just I'm not reading a fucking haunted house novel. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. It's like it's just so been done to death. I don't need to read a whole novel on a haunted house.
Right.
Jesus. Would you do that, Edward?
No, I haven't even watched. I don't even watch those Netflix shows, man.
Yeah, I don't even watch a haunted house movie unless there's like a creative spin on it. I feel like, dude, I really think Insidious was like peak haunted house. That was like, this is what we can do with the haunted house concept.
We need James Wan back.
What'd you say?
So we need James Wan back.
Yep. Somebody call James Wan.
That's silly.
That's so stupid. Shawty fire burning on the that's dumb. What else? Oh, I'm almost finished with the show Dark.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That like, just to reiterate, I mean, that show is, I have like 3 episodes left. That show is, and the episode that I just finished is very climactic. I really want to know what happens next. That show's an achievement.
Really?
Like, truly an achievement.
It's quite high praise.
It is an achievement of cinema, of television, of storytelling. It is a storytelling achievement. Truly amazing. I've never seen philosophical conflict tackled quite so well, other than, you know, a couple of other things. Because basically the whole idea of it is, you know, the philosophical conflict that they're tackling is the idea of Nietzsche's eternal return. So for anyone who doesn't know, real quick, Friedrich Nietzsche's, you know, the philosopher, his he had a thought experiment called the eternal return, which basically was a litmus test for your ability to affirm life, not only in all of its joys, but all of its suffering as well. And the thought experiment goes, you know, how would you feel if a demon came to you and said, this life that you have lived, you're going to live it on loop for infinity. There's going to be no change. Everything's going to go the exact same way. All the good things, all the bad things, it's going to happen exactly as it happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Would you curse the demon and say that's terrible and be horrified, or would you praise it and say, oh my God, I've never heard anything so wonderful, right? And it's a test. That's a test for it's a litmus test, again, for your ability to affirm life and your ability to, realize that, suffering, may not always be a bad thing. It's not an easy question, It's something that you there's no clear-cut answer to it. I don't know where I stand on that. I'm pretty young still. We'll see where I stand on it when I'm 90, but that's the whole idea that they're playing with. It's like there's two sort of, in the climactic events of the final season, you have these two characters where one feels like, no, we have to end this time loop. This is, we can't have these events keep repeating like this, and another character is saying, no, we have to preserve the knot. We have to preserve the loop because these people, and this is my interpretation. This is all subtext, which that's another great thing about the show is it doesn't spell all this out. This is all my interpretation of the subtext of the show. But it's like there's another character who's like, no, we have to preserve this time loop. Yes, it's going to happen infinitely, but these people should exist. And a lot of bad things have happened to these characters, but they've had families, they've loved each other, they've grown, so on and so forth.
Right.
And it's incredibly layered. It's incredibly deep. And I'm going to be really sad when it's over, but I'm also really looking forward to finishing it.
How far away are you from finishing it?
Like 3 episodes left.
Oh, so you're almost done. You'll be done by next time.
Yep, I definitely will be. But yeah, just again, I know I said it already, but a true achievement of television and cinema, that show. I'll
have to add it to the shows that I won't watch.
Yeah,
I have to add it to my growing list.
It's short too. 8 episode, 3 seasons, 8 episode a season.
Yeah, sounds doable.
Yeah.
Not.
Just saying. But that's it for me, man. So I say we get into the film.
Hey, the film of this week is, as it keeps going for me, and I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the listener. I'm sorry to the viewer. I'm sorry to everybody that I keep subjugating the audience to this. I've done it, 3-4 times? Yeah, Woody Allen films.
I apologize to the musicians.
So this is the latest. This is the greatest. This is not the last one. I apologize in advance. It's 2011's Midnight in Paris by Woody Allen, starring Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams, with Marion Cotillard and a bunch of other actors, a bunch of cameos. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, well, Midnight in Paris has been on my watch list forever, man. Like since I first made Letterboxd, probably like 4 years ago. It's been sitting on there. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Did you think it was better than the Larry David one?
No, I don't. I think the Larry David one was better, dude. Definitely. What was that one called again?
Whatever Works.
Whatever Works. Yeah, Whatever Works was better, dude. Yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. Whatever Works had... Whatever Works it felt like it had higher stakes and just more... I had way more emotional investment in the characters.
You know what, man? You know what? I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm not even going to argue that. This is what I'm going to say. I think that this movie has better music. I think it has better direction. And I think that the premise of it is very interesting. And there's there's scenes and sequences that I think are great, and we'll talk about them. But what you're saying about whatever works is true. Is true. Can't deny it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the movie Midnight in Paris. Let me gather my thoughts here for a sec. Edward's laughing about something that happened off air.
Yes, it's technically writing with story-wise, it's worse than whatever works. I agree with you on that. To repeat myself.
I thought this movie was really on the nose.
Yes.
So on the nose,
and
man. It was so on the nose with its, because it's about not only living in the past. It's not so much about living in the past, because I don't think Owen Wilson's character, he's not nostalgic or about a time or anything. He doesn't want to go back and change anything about his past, really.
No.
Which I thought that's what the movie would actually be about.
Right.
But it's not. He's more it's more about being dissatisfied with a situation. And it's sort of about the eternal, sort of the perpetual dissatisfaction of the human condition, right?
Right.
Like we're perpetually dissatisfied with the time we're in.
Right, which is a constant with Woody Allen movies, for sure, that theme.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And I just thought the way it was laid out in this movie was so on the nose, where it was just like, the end.
I mean, exactly. Like towards the end,
they literally say it.
Yeah, he says it.
Yeah. He's like, you think the 1880s is the golden age, and I think the 20s is the best time.
And it's like, but the motto of the story is whatever time you're alive in, that's the best time. You have to take the reins of your life. Because obviously, like you said, he wasn't satisfied, but also he was complacent. He was just like, I guess this is what it is, And then it was like, but when he stopped and looked, he realized that it was like, oh, my life sucks, and I have a say in that. I have a say. Which obviously it's like a powerful message, but like you said, it was so ham-fisted and obvious that it's like,
I will say, though, that there's something that this movie tackles, which I think, might go over. Some people might not pick up on it or really see it the way I see it in this movie, but it sort of tackles the idea of, living in a fantasy where, I've heard psychologists say that like fantasy is generally not good. You don't want to fantasize all that much. It's not great for you. You actually want to get out there and make life, design your life the way you want it to be, and that's kind of what this movie's about a little bit, I would say, is just sort of that danger of, living in a fantasy, and just hoping and dream, and hoping for something, hoping for the unattainable, instead of actually making real change, which sounds obvious, but I would say most people are guilty of it at some point or another, and a lot of people live that perpetually. I know people who have lived that way perpetually, and it's hard to get out of. But I definitely think that I think that's an idea that this movie tackles. But I think one thing that I noticed too, just on like a technical level with this movie, I definitely thought, I was like, holy shit, Woody Allen's influence on Curb Your Enthusiasm and Larry David is it's undeniable.
It's undeniable.
Especially aesthetically, just the music and the camera work.
And that's why whatever works to people was like a match made in heaven, even though obviously critically the movie flopped. But it was like, oh, this is meant to happen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it was definitely, it sort of tackled, I guess, to the pain of uncertainty, the uncertainty of where your life's headed, which direction to take, and sort of wishing you could just be somewhere where it all worked out, I heard something really interesting yesterday, actually, that humans hate uncertainty so much that people would rather pick the reality where people would rather 100%. people would rather there be 100% chance that things are going to go wrong than a 50-50 chance that things will go right or
Right,
wrong.
because at least you have certainty. At least you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I know, you know.
Yeah.
But if
We're
if you
weird
don't, then
creatures like that.
you just live like in this dread of like when's it gonna happen, you know? You're like
Exactly.
constantly shaking.
Yeah, we're weird creatures
Yeah.
like that, man.
It's funny. There's like a continuous gag in the show How I Met Your Mother, where they introduce this idea of like the slap, because the character Jason Segel, Marshall, makes a bet with Neil Patrick Harris, Barney's character, and whoever wins the bet gets to slap the other guy. You know, and then it just continues like escalating through the show, where at some point Marshall just has like 5 slaps that he can give him at any point. At any point, he can slap him 5 times. And there's like an episode, like the episode where that's like introduced, or the episode in which like the slaps are like looming in the air for him. He's like just losing his mind. He's like, oh my god, when's it gonna happen? You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that.
Oh, they ripped that off in Family Guy.
Really?
They did that with Stewie and Brian.
Really?
Those fuckers, they ripped it off.
But oh yeah,
I'm sure How I Met Your Mother came first.
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I know I've seen it. I know I've seen it in both shows. But I guess I'm just trying to highlight the idea there that it's like, yeah, it's pretty terrifying when you know like something bad's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and I don't know when it's gonna happen. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, like, dude, if you told me that I'd be fired from my job, but you gave me the date, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
you can plan.
Fine.
Yeah, you can plan around it. You're like, I'm gonna navigate this. I'm gonna emotionally prepare for this.
Exactly.
But if they tell you like, hey, you're gonna get fired, it's like when? It's like I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like at what time?
happen
By
now.
who? Like I don't know. Yeah, you could wake up and
Yeah.
you're fired. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't give a fucking shit if I was fired right now, dude. Take some time off, man. Go to museums. Fucking go to concerts. Wouldn't give a fuck. But anyway, yeah. Owen Wilson struggling with uncertainty. Yeah, I mean, you know. Yeah, I feel like the movie was. I also feel like Rachel McAdams' character and her whole family were just comically cynical and comically like not meant for Owen Wilson's character.
Right.
It was just so by the numbers where it was like, oh,
yeah.
it's so clearly not meant for you. Where this movie would have been great with. I really thought there was going to be more nuance to this movie when I heard like what the plot was and stuff. I thought there was going to be more nuance with like, oh, you know, but I love my wife, you know, but it's like, no, dude, this movie sucks.
Yeah, it was such
suck.
It was so straightforward. Like it was played so straightforward that when I finished the movie, I was surprised that it has like really high ratings. I was like, really, this movie? Because I was like, you know, like you, I was like, this is just okay. You know, I was like, this is okay. It won an Oscar.
It does have high ratings. Did it really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It must. I'm looking it up. I think it probably won for best screenwriting.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it won best original screenplay. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I thought Whatever Works was way better than this.
Yeah, it won best original screenplay.
Way better.
And it was something there for directing.
Whatever Works was so much more emotionally resonant in this movie. I don't know, man. I don't get people sometimes. I really don't get critics sometimes. There's a lot of overlap between me and critics where I'm like, yeah, I definitely see why this movie's like 90% or this movie's a 20% or whatever. But there's some times where I'm like, I don't know what the hell. I'm living in a different universe, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm with you.
Where somewhere where Whatever Works like just got forgotten and Midnight in Paris is like this, you know, Oscar winner. I don't know. I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I'm with you because I thought it was like so like predictable, you know, by the numbers. Even though like the idea itself is like interesting, it was played like so straight where it's like when you read it, you go like, oh, there has to be more than this, and then it's like, oh no, it's literally just that, you know. I don't know. And then like all the characters, like all the like fictional like Hemingway and Dali and all these characters were played so like in such like a strange way because you think like, oh, I guess he's gonna try to recreate what it would be like for these characters for somebody to interact with them in their time period, but they're like, oh no, I'm Hemingway. It's like, oh, I'm Dali, and it's like caricatures. They were all playing caricatures of these characters. Maybe that was the point, that like all that he saw, it was all in his head or something, and all that, and he interpreted everybody as just like this caricaturesque pictures of themselves that he imagined them to be. But it was pretty on the nose, regardless. I knew this was coming, dude. Anytime, I can't hear you. By the way, I don't know if I can't hear you. But anytime.
There we go.
There you go. Every time that you start lagging, I knew like, oh, the computer's dead. Like I know it, because you over the past like 10 minutes, you were like cutting out like a little bit, like every 2 minutes you would cut out, your audio would cut out a little bit. It's like, what's going on, and then eventually you became frames, and I was like, it's done. Every time, every episode that we do that's my episode, this happens.
Oh God, yeah, man. I don't know why I didn't plug it in at the beginning,
but at anyway. Least once more we're at the last leg of this episode. But I was just saying that the fictional characters were played like caricatures, and that I was like I was really disappointed in that.
Yeah. There was not much nuance to this movie, in my opinion. I really don't think so. I mean, how much nuance can you have when it's like, Rachel McAdams' character? What I really thought at some point, like the first 20 minutes, I was like, there's no way she sucks this much. Like they're just giving us some of this, and they gave them a little scene where they had like some, showed each other some affection and stuff, but the whole movie she's just nagging him and bitching at him and doesn't understand him, and is just like shutting him down, and then having like an emotional affair with the other guy. And it's just kind of like the answer is so cut and dry. Like there's no conflict here, right. Other than the fact that you're fucking nuts and you're like hallucinating.
Exactly.
The 20s or whatever. Yeah. Did they ever establish? I don't remember. Did they establish if that was actual time travel or if he was just hallucinating? No.
Like I think they played it like for real. Because at one point the dad says like, I had a PI follow him. And then we cut to the PI, and the PI is like trapped, like back in time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think they're implying that it was like real that he was doing that.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah, because part of me was like, I was wondering, is the PI gonna follow him and just see him talking to like nothing?
Right. No, the PI traveled in time seemingly with him.
That would have been dude. That would have been such a bet.
That would have made the movie a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
And Owen Wilson is just like talking to a street lamp. Yeah. And just like, well, I love the 20s. I love the 20s.
They're sleepwalking.
Like, well,
so he just sleepwalks around Paris. But yeah. What would you rate this movie?
6.
Yeah, I think I would give it the same thing. Let me play this little game with you before we close this out, before you give us our movie. So this is the name of this game, and we'll probably play this game moving forward. I'll probably reintroduce this with each movie that we watch. But
that's the name of the game.
The name of the game is positive or negative, right? So we're just trying to guess if this is a positive review or a negative review for this film, okay? So it's like what we did for The Blind Side. It's like the Barbenheimer thing we did. It's like, was it for Barbie or was it for Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
So, but the gig here is this a positive review for the movie or a negative review for the movie? Okay, so this is the first one by a reviewer called Kira. It says, "This is such a beautiful film. Why the fuck did it have to be written and directed by one of the vilest men on earth, Woody fucking Allen? Damn it." Negative or positive review?
I would say it's probably still a positive review. Final answer.
Yes, it is. It's a positive review.
All right, cool. Yeah. So hey, good for her, man. She's
sticking to it, sticking to the worth of the film.
Yeah.
This is by
I made my case on why
judge the art, not the arts, because
Yeah.
you know, it's like you can like one aspect of somebody, but you know, loathe other aspects of them.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we talked about Tory Lanez earlier.
Yeah.
You know, he shot Stallion in the foot. He's probably, you know, he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. Yeah.
But it's like, well, I hate that part of you, but the music you make, I like that part.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of you, sir. No one's completely bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So the next one, kind of dug it, but I don't know, man.
I would say maybe like a lukewarm review.
Negative review.
No, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was leaning. Are these like only positive or negative? There's no in betweens here.
There will be one in between.
Okay.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. Everything else will be either positive or negative.
Okay.
This is the next one. No name for this person. No, this is Isaac. It said, can Woody Allen stop jerking off to himself long enough to write a script that doesn't sound like a bad fan fiction written by a 15-year-old?
Negative.
Negative, for sure. Next
Obviously.
one. Next one. Wherein...
I'm pausing to think about that. I would say Scrat, by the way. You want to think I'm stupid or something.
Next one by Parker, it says, wherein the stand-in for Woody Allen is praised by all the greatest writers of all time, and 3 women fall in love with him.
Negative.
Neutral. This is the neutral review amongst all of them.
Okay.
Great concept, but didn't quite come together. Also, why is Starry Night used in the poster when Vincent isn't referenced in the movie?
I would say negative.
Positive.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, they just quite hit the mark or whatever.
Yep. So this is the next one. This was such a beautiful and funny movie. It's a shame that such a dirty old man made it. By Molly.
Positive.
Positive?
Yeah.
Positive. That's right. That's right. I can't take Owen Wilson seriously, but this was a cute movie. Fuck Woody Allen.
Positive.
Positive. Yeah, you're on a streak. Wish I saw this movie while I was in NYU and had light in my eyes. Oh boy. Anyway, every single movie review I've done of late has been I cried. So I want to make it clear I did not cry.
Positive.
Positive. All right, look at you, dude. You're really getting them. And then the last review says, I hate Owen Wilson.
Negative.
Positive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see disliking. No, I don't dislike Owen Wilson. I dislike his character quite a bit in Wedding Crashers.
Same here.
I think that movie sucks. Honestly, I'm actually in the minority.
I don't hate that movie. Yeah.
I'm in the vast minority on that
That's
one.
That's your Ice Age. Wedding Crashers.
Where I like it, but I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I hate Wedding Crashers. I definitely dislike it, though.
Yeah.
I think it was really dumb. And Owen Wilson's character in that movie is really annoying. But I also feel bad. You know, I like him, and I also know that he failed an attempt on his own life as well. I believe.
Yeah.
Is that? Am I right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Owen Wilson. I'm not gonna say the word.
Yeah, sadly, I already said it. Hopefully, YouTube won't detect it. When I was talking about that Deathconciousness album.
Did you say it? I thought you did a euphemism.
I think I said it one time, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have said it."
Yeah, 2007, dude. He attempted.
Really? Wow. I like Owen Wilson. I have nothing against him.
That's terrible, man.
Yeah.
I feel that's awful.
Well, I'm glad he's still around. If you're listening to this, Mr. Owen, I'm glad he's still around.
Yeah, no, really glad, man. And yeah, I mean, honestly, just as I guess on a very serious note, yeah, if you're listening to this and you ever have feelings or thoughts of that, call the hotline, get some help, and always realize there's another day.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always there's always another day.
Yeah.
Life can definitely get better.
I mean, if that person knew that, they wouldn't have commented, "I hate Owen Wilson."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That makes me. That definitely makes me softer on somebody. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. They don't need to be picking on them.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Anyone who's listening to this, I've actually, I wouldn't be ashamed to admit it if I did, but I've never had struggled with that. But I've certainly had mental health struggles as everyone has, in my past, but never, thoughts of making an attempt on my life or anything. But I will say I've known people very close to me who have struggled at one point or another. And if you're thinking of that, keep putting off that decision as long as you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Just keep putting it off. Just put it off. And seek some professional help, and just again realize like there's always another day.
Right.
Things will get better.
Yeah.
With
Absolutely.
With time and effort, they will.
Absolutely. I stand by that.
Anyway, I was inspired to say that when I remembered that about Owen Wilson. So
yeah. That's real, man. I stand by that for sure. And Mr. Wilson, we're happy. We're happy for you. We're happy you're around. We want to see you in more movies. Should have been in the Barbie movie. I feel like he would have fit in that.
Dude, I can totally. And holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. But do you, sir, have a film for us for next week?
Well, I was inspired to actually. I want us to do another commentary.
Hey,
next week.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I know I want to do a horror movie because it's getting to
it's almost that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost that time of year. Next week will be like a week before October. So
I say we just start it, dude. After that, I'll bring a horror movie. We'll just start. We'll start early. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm starting early this year. Oh, you know what? I did forget in my recap. I also started. I watched an episode of Guillermo del Toro's
Cabinet of Curiosities. Oh right.
Yeah, the first episode was pretty good. It has the guy from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, which whole shit, I forgot to put that on Letterboxd. I watched that last night.
Yeah.
How'd I forget? I rewatched that. Nothing to really say. I mean, that's a fun movie, man. But copy in my recap, I forgot to log it on Letterboxd, so that's why I forgot about it. But so anyway, I'm bouncing all over the place. But the guy from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I don't remember the actor's name, but the really like dumb character. He's the main character in the first episode of Cabinet of Curiosities, which it was pretty good. I was disappointed by the twist at the end of the episode, but the build up and everything was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to watching more of that. But yeah, dude, I agree, man. I start celebrating Halloween the second one full day, like one day that's not hot as fuck, and that's it.
We're here.
Halloween, Halloween time. Yeah. It's Halloween time until November 1st. Scary movies.
Yeah.
All
right, let's do it. Everybody, get on the train. Get on the horror movie train. That's what we'll do.
Hell yeah! So yeah, we'll be doing a surprise commentary on a commentary on a surprise horror movie next week.
All right, get hyped. That's exciting.
Yeah, one that you and I have both seen, so we can blabber through the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the show, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and like we were saying when we were talking about Owen Wilson, be well, and if things aren't going so well for you right now, again, there's always another day. You got this, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. See you next time on Film Tangents. We're out.